Once upon a time in a place we will soon learn more about, John 1:1 tells us at the very beginning of everything was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. These are the words of John, a friend of Jesus, one of his 12 disciples, in the book he wrote nearly 2,000 years ago. And hundreds of years before John, King David wrote in Psalms 119, 160, that the Word of God is true from the beginning. All these words of God became what we have today, the Bible. And when we read the Bible, the book containing these many smaller books, we discover that God, the divine Jehovah, Yahweh, Providence, is the author. 2 Timothy 3:16 tells us the one who spoke and inspired his word, and all it says takes full responsibility for every word of it. So you may say, well, it's easy for a book to say itself is inspired, but how do we really know? You should be asking that question, because we live in a world of deception, so how do we really put faith in a book written thousands of years ago? Well, the greatest evidence to me is that through His Word, God tells us in John 14:29, I have told you these things before they happen, so that when they do happen, you will believe. See, there's many of these statements in the Bible called prophecies because they were written long ago, yet they were fulfilled long after they were written, leading us to believe that the author is divine, and according to Isaiah 46 verse 10, he knows the end from the beginning. 1 John chapter 1 and verse 5 tells us that God is light, and that His Word, according to Psalms 119, 105, is a light to guide our feet as we navigate this dark and often chaotic world. You know, the Word of God is in fact the light of life from the great source of all light and life. The Word Himself said in John 14:6, I am the way and the truth and the life. Okay, so the Bible's divided into two halves, the older part, which we call the Old Testament, and the newer part, which we call the New Testament. Old because it came before the new, not because it's, outdated or no longer relevant. The Old was written in Hebrew. The New is written in Greek. The Old is cloaked in these types and symbols, all pointing to something or someone that could save man from his fallen condition. Okay, so we're jumping ahead a little bit, back to the storybook. This book is pretty profound. It was written over the course of 1,500 plus years by 40 different authors, yet it all agrees amazingly with itself, telling the greatest story ever told. So that's where we get this story. And now let's introduce the characters.